Hello, women of power. Hello, goddesses who are awakened. This is Tonya Taria from Freedom at the Crossroads, helping women everywhere look better, feel better without the pressure of OPE, other people's expectations. How is it going with you? It has been a little bit of extended time between this podcast and our previous episode. Just to let you know, there's some things going on in the background, working out to bring some better content, some more introspection and perceptions of what's going on in the world today for women that pertain to us, and how we can continue to be active, motivated, tearing down those crazy expectations of other people, breaking the silence around self-care, the guilt, the shame. Yes, the shame. Because if you are seeking validation outside of self, if you are asking for permission to take care of yourself, guilt, shame, the busy when you're not really busy, the excuses we create, the justifications to say no. Ladies, it's time to break the cycle, break the wheel, break the conditioning and domestication of society, of culture, of the powers that be, that want to keep the status quo, that want to continue to control and dictate who you are, what you are, and your core self. In other words, taking dominion back from those who have taken your power. And part of that starts with self-care. Actually, a large part of it revolves around the notion of self-care, because self-care is ultimately activism. It is a civil rights issue, and it's even more so in the climate we live in today. For those who have been living under rocks right now, women's reproductive rights are truly in the crosshairs more than ever in this season, particularly here in the U.S. It's ironic that I have spoken so much about the issues and discriminatory practices against women in other parts of the world, quote-unquote third part regions of the world, more restrictive regions of the world, like parts of Africa, the Middle East, Southeast Asia, and yet here in the U.S., in the West, it is out in the open, ladies, masquerading as pro-choice, pro-life. And, I'm so sick and tired of that quote-unquote debate, because the real issue is about autonomy, self-autonomy, the right to dictate, to own your space, your core self, and your personhood. And part of that has to do with who you are intrinsically, what goes on within your own body. So how dare a group of old white men tell you that you don't have power over your own body? So it's, I could go off on a rant and a true tangent here, but I don't want us to lose focus over chasing terms and chasing fake political divides known as pro-choice and pro-life, because the real issue is self-autonomy, power over self, power over core self, power over your personhood. And as a human being, a basic human right is the right to self. And however you choose to express that is yours and no one else's. No one has to like you. No one has to love you. No one has to like what you do or like what you say, insofar as what you do does not affect the external. Say, for instance, you don't take your hand because it's your hand and then slap somebody. That's a basic explanation, or a basic example of, autonomy over self versus, harm to another person. So let's not get caught up in the minutia, excuse me, of these straw man terms. For anyone who it is familiar with the basics of war, the basics of conflict, one of the primary ways you keep things going and you stir that up is through divide and conquer and creating infighting against groups that you are targeting. So let's leave that where it is. And let's move on to true self-care and real issues that are connected and operate within the context of self-care, particularly as it pertains to women, our health, our mental health, our spiritual health, our physical health, our emotional health. Self-care is activism, and this is why I am so passionate about this, because self-care operates on so many levels. It's not about the smoothie bowls. It's not about the complex yoga poses. It's not about being skinny or looking cute or not caring about anything. It is truly about, real self-care is truly about core self, personal development, and how that manifests in all areas of your life. When you are healthy, when you give from a place of wholeness, when you are giving from a well that is not empty, when you are overflowing because you have nurtured self, you own self, you have grown yourself, i.e. personal development, then things like eating healthy, making healthy connections and relationships, setting boundaries, which is part of that, not barriers. When you are an independent thinker, when you are not overwhelmed or overstressed, things like weight loss, keeping your weight at a healthy level, and all of that just flows naturally. It becomes part of the whole, because you're coming from a place of wholeness to begin with. You're coming from a place of health, well-being, nurturing, overflow, and by extension, that also takes into account the things that are in alignment with your body. And so when I see people pulling aside diet in quotes, eating healthy, extreme versions of eating healthy, and promoting certain quote unquote healthy diets like veganism or what have you, or lifestyles, those to me are very superficial, because they're not dealing with the internal issues that we deal with, that women struggle with, that need to be addressed, that need to be exposed to the light and excised. So when you give from a place of emptiness, when you're overwhelmed, when you're overstressed, you don't set boundaries, you don't know how to say no, and you just want to scream inside and say, oh, I can't do this. I can't be Superwoman. When you are in that state, you start gravitating to all these what I call desperate measures of Band-Aid solutions, which is things like, oh, I'm going to diet and I'm going to try the vegan diet here, or I'm not going to eat this. Oh, I'm cutting out meat in my diet. I'm not going to eat any animal proteins and and I'm not going to do this and I'm not going to do that, and I'm going to do 50 push-ups every morning. Those are desperate solutions that do not address the core issue. And that's why I am like, okay, why are people in the fitness and health industry giving people non-solutions, giving women fake, lifeboats, fake life vests that address none of their issues? And I say that is by design of a higher structure that seeks to dominate and control women. And women have, for centuries, for decades, been objectified, and that image and those expectations have been highlighted, have been perpetuated by, particularly now, it's even stronger because the modes of perpetuating these kind of false images and expectations and toxic manners of control of women, we have so many outlets for this now, particularly our media. We've got so many different types of social media platforms that just continue and to dominate women and our situations. And it's so sad. It's so sad and annoying, and I just want to say enough already. So this is Tonya Taria from Freedom at the Crossroads, helping women everywhere look better, feel better without the pressure. Your undomesticated African goddess, speaking to my fellow undomesticated women, or women who are on the path to breaking the shackles of OPE, other people's expectations. This was a short episode today, just to let you know, hey girls, we're here. The fight continues, the battle continues, the rant continues. So check out my other media platforms on Instagram at Taria Health, Tonya Taria Health on Instagram. You can find me on Pinterest, Tbarango, Tbarango on Pinterest. And you can find me on Taria Health at Twitter. Yes, ladies, I am everywhere. And Freedom at the Crossroads is also on YouTube. You can join my community there. I look forward to jamming with my sisters and hanging out with you ladies. And let's just get the word out. Let's discuss. Let's rant. Let's be informed. And remember that self-care is healthcare. Self-care is activism. Till next time.